Before writing this speech, I heard someone in our speech class say that they didn't want to write a speech on someone like a grandparent because it was too cliche. What does that mean? According to Oxford dictionaries, a cliche is a phrase or opinion that is overused and betrays a lack of original thought. I asked myself, how does a subject such as a grandfather become overused? I came up with this. Subjects such as the people closest to us are used and reused, their stories are told and retold, they become cliche because they are the ones that mean the most to us. We need heroes to inspire us, and not the ones from once upon a time or a galaxy far, far away, but rather the ones we know and cherish, the ones we can quietly imitate. For this reason, I have chosen to commemorate my great-grandfather, Leroy Virgil Robbins, or Roy. An Exxon engineer, a 4-H leader, but most importantly, a man who loved his family, Roy was the embodiment of humble heroism due to the love he showed those around him. I am commemorating Roy here and now because in a world where we all seek to be affirmed and recognized, I take comfort in remembering those who do not desire such credit. In this speech, I will discuss who Roy was and how he personified love of family. First off, who was Roy Robbins? An Exxon engineer, Roy was thought by all around him as a brilliant man. He graduated from LSU in chemical engineering before going to MIT to receive his master's. His name can be found patented on multiple chemical processes. My father describes him as the man who knew everything and could fix anything and taught everyone who was smart enough to watch him. He wasn't condescending. Instead, you wanted to learn from Grandpa. Roy was also very involved with the 4-H program and was a leader for 50 years. He raised sheep and his children would show them at 4-H shows. He truly believed in the power of 4-H to inspire youth, and he has been posthumously inducted into the Louisiana and National 4-H Hall of Fame. Lastly, Roy was a family man. Roy was a husband and a father of 6 daughters and 3 sons. Roy was not just loved by his children, but would grow to be highly respected by all of their spouses. Now that I've discussed who Roy was, I will talk about what made him such a loving man to his family. Roy was a loving man to his wife, children, grandchildren, and even those he was not related to. My dad, who's not normally a nostalgic person, fondly recalled how Grandpa Robbins would give his grandkids $1 every time they lost a tooth. My dad says, if you had a loose tooth and you were going to see Grandpa a month later, you did all you could to keep that thing in place until you got to see Grandpa, so you could get your $1. He used a handkerchief to pull it, and it never hurt. Not with $1 in your mind. That was the same trick he'd use if you got hurt at his house. He'd pull out $1. He said he figured if you got $1 and you still cried, you might have a more serious injury. Actually, I never saw the $1 fail to work. My dad also recollects Roy helping him with a tree identification project for 4-H. He didn't need a book to identify any of the trees. He just knew them and was glad to help my father, who was a city boy from New Orleans. Roy would maintain the pool at his house for his grandkids to come over and swim. He himself never swam, but that wasn't the point. He took care of the pool so his grandkids could swim. There are also many instances of Roy's love for his wife. As they got older, she would love to tell stories about all the times Roy was wrong, and Roy would sit there and laugh and nod his head because he knew telling those stories made his wife happy. He never corrected her, he never argued with her, but always did everything she wanted. He never hesitated to get that woman anything she desired. My family tells a story about how once she, my great-grandmother, got in an argument with the man who delivered the milk. To make her happy, Roy bought her a cow. One time, she was unable to get her car battery started. Roy went and bought her a new car. That was the kind of man Roy was. Lastly, he did not just love his family, but all those around him. A congressman actually had a tribute to my great-grandfather read in the minutes of the U.S. Congress because of the impact my great-grandfather had on him when he was a fatherless youth. Once again, that was the kind of man Roy was. In conclusion, I have discussed who Leroy Virgil Robbins was and how he exemplified love of family. Roy was the quiet hero that never sought recognition for anything he did. Rather, everything he did was for his family and the people he loved. Let us never fear of being cliche when speaking of those who mean the most to us. These are the ones who relate to us, and the ones that could, should, and will have their stories continue to be told. Thank you.